Hey, y'all, Ashley here. So, I want to speak a little bit on relationships because I know how hard it can be when you're going through chronic symptoms, chronic pain, chronic illness to have success in relationships, especially with your partner. So, I want to talk a little bit about what I've learned recently and a question that I have been asking myself that's been extremely helpful, and I encourage you to do the same. The question is my choice or current behavior worth sacrificing connection with my partner? So, again, the question is what I'm currently doing, my choices and behavior, worth sacrificing connection with my partner? You see, I used to think that having control was more important than connection because to me, control meant that I was protecting myself. And it was a completely false assumption. And it's normal to have that thought when you are kind of stuck in the symptoms and the chronic illness and pain because you're in that protective mode. But ironically, connection with our partner, that's what brings safety to the nervous system. And ironically, that's what I was pushing away and lacking. So here are a few quick ways that will help foster that connection. The first one would be self compassion and self care. The more that you find self compassion and love for you, and you give yourself care because you love yourself, and the care that you give is high quality care, that's going to benefit with connection because you're not going to be burnt out. Your cup's going to be filled because you've been doing that for yourself. The next one would be love and respect. The more that we show our partner love and respect, the more connection is established. I used to feel that being right was more important than actually showing the respect or love for their opinion. So it's important just to remind yourself to let things go for the sake of connection. The next one would be letting go of control, staying in your lane. This was so difficult for me. So it is important to think about whatever you're talking about or whatever you're doing in the moment. Is it in your lane or is it in your partner's lane, right? Because if it has to do with their life, with their job, with their choices, that is their lane. It's not your lane. And so it's really important to try to let go of the control. If it doesn't have to do with you and it's not part of your lane, it's not worth controlling. It is so much better to let go of the control, let them do what they need to do without speaking up about it. And it's less stress for you too, less things to worry about. So the next one is receive. Receiving gifts, receiving compliments, receiving advice in a healthy way. Because when we don't receive and we push away what someone is trying to give, especially our partner, then that's just rejecting. And we don't want to put rejection onto our partner because that's not fostering connection. It can be difficult to receive. It was for me because I had so much fear about things, for example, money, that if something was too expensive, I just couldn't receive it because in my mind, it wasn't worth it because we were sacrificing money. And to me, money was more important than connection with my partner. And so this is where we have to think about the root fear of why we don't want to receive and then work really hard at reminding ourselves that connection with our partner is more important and receiving what they want to offer us is very, very productive. The next one is being vulnerable and expressing your desires. This can be a struggle because it takes courage to be vulnerable because when you're vulnerable, you might be rejected. And when you're in that protective mode, you want to do whatever you can typically to not give the opportunity for someone to disagree or reject what you have to say. But in the long run, being vulnerable and expressing your desires is going to get you further. And it's going to help your partner truly know where you're coming from, truly know what you need, instead of this argumentative way of trying to get your point across or beating around the bush and not really truly saying what the real desire is behind what you're trying to communicate. It can be very confusing unless you are completely straightforward with what the true desire is and the true feeling. And then the last thing is gratitude. Gratitude is so powerful. And the more that we give gratitude to our partner and gratitude in our own life, the more that we're going to be able to foster a healthy connection with them. So, whenever your partner does anything, really the dishes, helps you with the kids, maybe he takes you to a doctor appointment, thank your partner for doing that, he or she. And also try to work on gratitude for other things in your life that you notice, no matter how small it is. Because the more gratitude you build, the more that your heart gets filled and the more you're able to give and connect. So I hope those things made sense. I hope that you can apply them. I can go into more detail on each one in another video if you would like. I'll talk to you then.